PrymalChaos. Hey guys, PrymalChaos here. And I'm back in the studio today checking out some Chinchilla. So far I've seen Chalk Outlines, Little Girl Gone. This one is one of the most highly requested ones in the comments from both of those videos. So I got to find out what's going on. Chinchilla to me strikes me as being somebody who's a pretty unique artist. She has a lot of attitude and moxie, and she's not afraid to express her feelings through the songs that she writes, obviously. But this one, you know, I have no idea what the concept for this is. I don't know if it's live. It says for Hunger TV, whether it's a performance in front of an audience or whatever. Either way, I'm sure she's going to bring it because she has a spectacular voice, an insane amount of attitude. She just drips with sort of angst, I guess. And I'd be interested to see, you know, how much light and shade she has, because I've seen her being super punchy with Little Girl Gone. I've also seen her be, you know, super emotive and lyrical and, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there's just so much depth to her. Like, you could experience her soul in Chalk Outlines. So this one's going to be an interesting one. I don't know where this is going to fall on that spectrum, but anyway, I'm going to jump right in. I'm not going to harp on it too long. Before I do, I just want to say this video is brought to you today by Enchroma Glasses. They make lenses for colorblind people like myself to help us see the world a little bit better. If you or someone you know is colorblind, click the link in the description. It'll take you to their website where you can get a free eye test, find out if you have a deficiency, and if so, what kind. And yeah, go from there. You might be able to buy a pair of glasses that will help you see the world a little bit better. I wear mine every day. I love them. Chinchilla, Fingers Live for Hunger TV. Here we go.
Probably saw me let go. Panicked and you said hello. Swallowing the words you say. You know I'm not okay. Bled me till I ran cold. Now you're coming back for more. You know me, you know I'll cave, but scars will never fade. So meet me to spot, and one by one I'll cut your fingers clean off so you can never pull me down.
Oh, wow.
One by one I'll box them up, scream murder. No, you can never hurt no one.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So tell me where you're gone.
I'm going to jump, before we get too far into it, I'm going to jump back and start from the beginning because there's a few things I want to talk about. Again, I feel like this is one of those ones where we get to see the soul on display. There's passion there and there's angst. So I'm detecting a theme here. But that line, I want to cut your fingers right off so you can no longer drag me down or something, is just super visceral lyric writing. And super creative, and it's just a unique concept, you know. Man, that's really deep. Okay, she's got, again, there's a beautiful harshness to her tone, her timbre, that it just sounds almost like a saturated guitar, like a distorted guitar. It's got like this sort of like hiss to it. There's like an edginess to the timbre, but yet somehow it sounds beautifully like smooth and silky at the same time. Like a really good guitar solo does, I suppose, you know, when it's screaming, you know, and someone's really wrestling that neck. That's how I relate it because I'm a guitar player, right? But it's kind of unusual. There's a breathiness to it that's sort of adding that extra to it, gives it that sort of almost fragility, but also like this sort of warm distortion, you know. But the other thing I noticed too is that doing parts like that where your melody sort of is choppy and it jumps around like, ha, 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 you know, like without legato between the notes, can be exceptionally difficult because you haven't got that foundation of already being in a note to then move on to another note. starting a note on pitch accurately with a staccato feel is probably way harder than a lot of people think. And it shows amazing breath control and technique because, you know, like most of the time in rock, if you sort of, you know, you hit a note, if you're a little bit under or a little bit over, you can sort of into the note and no one cares. It feels like it's just being emotive. But you can't come in on those parts that she's doing, like the specific, like, if you come in a little bit flat or a little bit sharp, it's immediately noticeable because you've got nowhere to go. It's got to be right on the money every time. That's all support and breath control as far as I'm aware. Anyway, but let's jump back in and listen to that again. The piano is beautiful. There's something distressing about just a single piano note too. It's alarming. But then it's nice.
Probably saw me let go. Panicked and you said hello. Swallowing the words you say. You know I'm not okay. But let me tell her.
The visuals are super interesting too, because the impression I get when I first look at her in her outfit and everything is this carnivale kind of, you know, the ringmaster kind of thing. Like the outfit's kind of bombastic and gaudy and loud and, you know, in its form, right? And the top hat and everything. It seems almost vaudevillian, right? And the single spotlight and the shadow in the background. And I think that's kind of analogous to her putting her emotions and her soul out there for everyone to see, right? So she's kind of demonstrating her pain and her anguish in a way that's kind of like, look, I'm the single act here on display, and here's all my pain and regret and hurt and my angst and aggression. She could have easily done this music video walking around the streets, or, you know, in a particular set piece that's different to this, and the song would still have impact, but there's a solitude to what we're seeing here, right? The only other person in the room in this live performance is the guy playing piano, who's there by necessity, really, right? And that's kind of key here, right? It's like imagine a live performance where no one shows up. That's the most lonely and lonely example of solitude and loneliness, really, that you can really picture. It's almost like this is a characterization of that voice in her head that's feeling all the pain and hurt, you know, in the theater of her mind, so to speak.
And cold. Now you're coming back for more. You know me, you know I'll cave, but scars will never fade. So meet me to a clock the same as old.
It's even theater makeup, right?
Favorite spot. And one by one, I'll cut your fingers clean off, so you can never pull me down.
The interplay between the rhythm of the piano and her staccato parts is so beautiful, because she's doing like a and he's doing like some rhythmic movements underneath that give her part groove, which is a really cool trick. If you've got a singer who can't groove to a rhythm and sing straight, you write music under them that has a groove energy to it. So their straight vocal suddenly sounds like it's sort of moving, right? Because what's underneath the vocal is moving. Obviously, that's not what's happening here. But the fact that, you know, that and then it makes her vocal sound like it's moving. And it's so freaking awesome how they've sort of written that into it. The pianist really knows what he's doing, whoever co-wrote this song with her. See? Now it feels like her vocal's tumbling down a hill, you know?
So you can never pull me down. One by one, I'll box them up, scream murder. No, you can never hurt no one. So tell me where you're gone. sun gone? And tell me, is the fun gone? Whoa, maybe I should shed a tear, 'cause this was me last year. So mean me late at night where no one hears us. I won't bite, and one by one.
This is why singers like Chinchilla are so important. When you, if as a singer, if you go to a vocal coach or like an opera coach or something like that, they're going to teach you all about diction and, you know, hitting your consonants properly and having enunciation and vocalizing your lyrics clearly, right? I mean, I'm speaking not so much in modern terms. There's plenty of modern vocal coaches now and things like that. But singing teachers traditionally would try to get you to, you know, I mean, they might train you classically, or they might train you in a way where you can be versatile and stuff like that. So you start with a really clean slate, and then you can sort of manipulate your voice however you want to suit whatever subject matter or material you're doing. What's interesting about Chinchilla and why I think she connects with so many people on an emotional level is it's more than just the melody that's drawing you in. It's the way, it's her diction, it's her slurred words, it's the way that she'll just bottom out on notes, or, you know, obviously effect for effect, right? Not like through talent. I guess she's doing it deliberately, but it's that, you know, the lazy enunciation and all of that adds so much character to the performance, and it makes her relatable. It makes her feel like she's just like the rest of us. She's not on some elite level of a classical opera performer or something like that. She's there experiencing this, and she's feeling the hurt and everything, but she's expressing that through the way she spits out certain words and the way she enunciates certain consonants to give it a little bit more drive and attitude. And that's all purely instinct. You can't teach that. Like, you might have somebody, you know, in a producer role when they're recording the vocal say, hey, can you sort of maybe give this a little bit more attitude, or maybe just sort of like hit that note a little bit harder with that hard T, you know, that t at the end or whatever, just to spit the word out. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the vocalist and their ability to interpret what the song needs to make you feel something.
Maybe I should shed a tear, 'cause this was me last year. So mean me late at night where no.
But at the same time, having said all what I just said, obviously all of that is underpinned by a brilliant ability to sing. Like, it's not like she's making all of these mistakes that just happen to sound good. She's fundamentally a great singer, but what she can do is she can take that great voice and she can add a layer of feel to it that makes it more accessible and more sort of like gritty and a little bit more interpersonal, a little bit more like you're in the space having a conversation, as opposed to her standing up on a stage just belting, you know. It's so intimate and so beautiful.
Whoa, maybe I should shed a tear, 'cause this was me last year. So mean me late at night where no one hears us. I won't bite, and one by one I'll cut your fingers clean off, so you can never pull me down. One by one I'll box them up, scream murder, so you can never hurt no one. Hell hath no fury like a man's sky.
Come on. Oh.
And when I'll cut your fingers And I'm gonna win, babe. So keep them close to you. Have to.
Wow.
For you, and she's in the shape of me, shape of me.
So one thing that really struck out there, sort of when we get to like the final act of the song, so to speak, was just how beautifully arranged the dynamics were. In fact, that's been the theme of today. I've done a couple of songs where they were masterfully have increased the dynamics throughout the song. Where, you know, you feel like there's a lot of attitude and stuff in the first sort of choruses and verses and stuff. But then when it builds through here, everything comes together and, you know, she starts belting and really making you feel it. And then, you know, builds and climaxes and then... There's something that's so beautifully mechanical about this motif and how it goes really organic and lush and builds. And then all of a sudden it just drops back to these... Dook, dook, dook. It's like this automaton sort of machine, like clockwork sort of feel to it. And even the way she starts moving towards the end there.
Close to you. Put your keys in your knuckles like I have to.
There's a little bit of mechanical nature to it. Yeah, right there, the little head bob at the end. It just sort of gives it away. Man, what a song. I don't know where it fits in the landscape of like pop music or whatever. It sort of stands alone like an art piece just by itself. It'd be interesting to see if the flavor of it is different with the original. I know this is the live version, so I'm going to have to check that out as well. But man, just there's so much great music at the moment, and this is no exception. It's so masterfully produced and realized by the talent that it just feels like everything is in its place. There's nothing about it that you would question. You're just along for the ride, you know, and you feel for her. It pulls your heartstrings. There's so much anger and rage there, but it's being tempered by, you know, her cool, calm collectedness at the same time. And then when she sort of unleashes all that belting sort of stuff towards the end, you just feel it. You feel like everything lift and become much more organic and real and emotional and personal. But then it just cuts back to those sort of like little idiosyncratic kind of clockworky sort of bits, you know, like those bits, you know. It almost seems like time ticking. It's like time is your enemy. I'm coming for you. And I'm going to make sure that you don't hurt anyone else. Wow. That was actually pretty breathtaking, to be honest. I'm really glad you guys recommended that one because it's sort of given me a little bit more of an understanding of who Chinchilla is and what she's about. And what she's about isn't hitting the top 40 charts, you know, even though Little Girl Gone has like that sort of connectivity that people hear it and all of a sudden it just feels like something that they should, you know, that should be in the top 40 or it should be a big song. And I know that she's super stoked that she's having that impact, but on the same level, that song exists in two planes. It can be a pop hit, but it can also be an aggressive underground sort of anthem. Much like this could easily be a charting song as well, but I don't think that's the intention, you know. Spectacular. I'm really impressed. I even love the detail of the sharp claw sort of fingernails in that it's sort of reminiscent of her daggers, you know, it's her self-defense mechanism. There's no detail left unturned. It's absolutely brilliant. I don't know what else I got to say. I think the video actually speaks for itself, to be honest. Yeah. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this reaction. If you feel like I brightened your day at all, feel free to buy me a coffee. I'll leave a link in the description. It helps support the channel. And also like, share, follow, subscribe. The more eyeballs on this, the better for me anyway. I appreciate anybody who shares the message. I know everybody loves sharing around reactions because in a way we're all kind of addicted to them. So I appreciate you sort of putting this out there. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate your eyeballs and your comments. Stay primal. I'll catch you in the next one.